Hi, I'm Tabitha Williams, and welcome to What's Eating Harlem. We cover the most exciting community in the world. There's so much happening in Harlem. Let's get started.
So this is my team, this is my extended family, and the only thing I do is sign the checks. They make everything else happen. So
Harlem Queen Melba Wilson is building an empire in the hospitality world. Part 2 of Harlem's history with historian Lana Turner. All of that and more coming up next.
This program is made possible by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, the Harlem Community Development Corporation, and by the West Harlem Development Corporation. Solutions through collaboration.
Today, we're here with Melba Wilson, the incomparable Harlem restaurateur, where we will sit down together and she will feed us mind, body, heart, and soul.
I ain't the only one, just another one on the list. I'm not the only nigga on your lips. Yeah, it is what it is. I ain't the only one, just another one on the list. No, these other nothings on your wrist, ain't nothing to tell while I'm...
Miss Wilson, I am so happy to be sitting here with you.
Melba, please.
Okay. Well, Melba, I am happy to be sitting here with you in Melba's.
Thank you.
Tell me, when you thought of being an entrepreneur, that little dream as a little girl, did you ever foresee all of this?
You know, I really didn't. I think that every great dreamer begins with a dream, right? This was so not a part of my dream. There are people that say, oh yeah, I saw, no, not me, did not happen that way. I did know that I wanted to use food as a conduit to bring people together. How exactly that was gonna play out in my life, I absolutely had no clue.
So who were some of your mentors that kind of edged you along the way and kind of steered your path, and what really made you decide on food?
My mentors, oh my God, there were so many. There were mentors that I could touch, that were tangible, that were visible, such as the one and only Ophelia DeVore, who started the Ophelia DeVore School of Charm and Modeling at the ripe young age of about 16. While she was taking a class at Vogue School of Modeling, a brown-skinned girl walked in, and it was then that she realized that they did not know that she was black, because they said to this young lady, I'm sorry, we don't teach Negroes. And she decided, well, I will. And coming from the South, she opened up her own school of charm and modeling. And some of the greats have been through there, such as Diane Carroll, Cecily Tyson, Sue Simmons, and on and on and on. And at a very young age, she became a mentor to me. My cousin Sandy worked there. And so every Saturday, I would hop on the train and go down to 1697 Broadway, the Ed Sullivan Theater building, and go to the Ophelia DeVore School of Charm. I would stuff envelopes, I would lick envelopes, but I also mimicked a lot of things that I saw in the women that came through those doors. So they were all icons to me at that time. Also my grandmother, who was a stay-at-home mom of 11 kids, and it was then that I first learned farm to table. But, however, that phrase was not coined at that time, but my grandmother would go in her garden, and it would be greens, beans, potatoes, tomatoes, you name it.
Yams, ham.
Yams and hams, exactly. But it was where she cooked and prepared food with so much love and so much vigor. And we would all sit around the table, and the table was not just about feeding your stomachs, your bellies. It was about feeding your soul, but also feeding our spirit. And it was a wonderful way of storytelling, telling us about our great-great-grandparents, where they came from. And these are stories that were told over and over and over again. We didn't journal. We journaled verbally. We didn't journal in writing, but we journaled verbally. But at the table is where everything happened. You see, in our house, every important event took place over what? Over food.
Your table sounds like my table growing up, and just, everybody coming together for food, with food, and just being a full community. Yes. And speaking of community, Harlem is really, the whole essence of Harlem is the sense of community. And you've helped not only yourself and the people that are working with you, but other businesses stay afloat. Would you just talk about that?
Wow. Well, first of all, the food and beverage industry is one of the toughest businesses to be in. So to get into this industry, you have to have a love and a passion and desire for it. And being a nurturer whose family is from South Carolina, there's a certain amount of hospitality and a certain amount of humbleness that you bring into this industry, especially when you're a person of color, and especially when you're coming from the South, Southern roots. And for me, it's never about me, it's about we. If I don't make an impact, if I don't pull somebody else up, if I don't smoothen the way for other entrepreneurs, then I'm on this earth taking up space. And I never want to take up space. There are people that talk about it and there are people that are about it. I like to pride myself in being about it. 2004, when I first chose this location, there were no other sit-down restaurants on Frederick Douglass Boulevard. And right across the street, right out these doors, 114th and 8th Avenue, was one of the most drug-ridden blocks in Harlem. And being born, bred, and buttered here, I wanted to be a part of the change that I really wanted for my neighborhood and for my community. So with money that I saved up under my mattress, I said, if not me, who, and if not now, when? And when I told my friends I was gonna open up at 114th Street, they were like, you gonna do that on purpose? Like, really? And yes, and since then it's become known as the uptown version of Restaurant Row. And I'm so happy to be here because this Harlem community, my Harlem community, they've given so much to me. And it's an honor and a privilege to be able to give just a little bit back.
And I have to ask, as a Black female entrepreneur, obviously that path was not easy, to say the least.
Can you say that again? just one more time.
It hasn't been an easy path, and it's not that there was a necessary roadmap for you to follow. So in leaving little breadcrumbs for someone to follow you, what advice would you give to other Black female entrepreneurs?
I would say that whenever someone says no to you, and know that they will say no over and over and over again, never take that no as a I can't. For me, no has always been, I've got to go around it, I've got to go over it, I've got to go under it, or go through it, but I will get to the other end. And I think that's what kept me. When people say, oh, you're Black, oh, you're female, and you're from Harlem, and you're in the food industry, those are the things that fuel me. And those are the reasons why I will. There's a story of about a little engine, right? That kept saying, oh, he's a little engine, he can't. And you have to say, I think I can, until you begin to know. Until you begin to say, I know I can. One of the things that Ophelia DeVore really taught me is the power of positive thinking, magic of the mind. Anything that we can perceive, we can achieve. There is something that comes with writing your goals and your aspirations down. And to this day, I walk around with a black and white composition notebook and I write everything down. Before Melba's came to fruition, I'd written this down, I can't tell you how many times. I could tell you what my menu was gonna be, what it was gonna look like in my mind. So I totally believe in the power of positive mental attitude as well as writing things down. But like you said, every day hasn't been easy. And on those days when things are not easy, it's those days that I walk outside the doors, I look to my right, there's an amazing monument of the one and only Frederick Douglass Jr. And then I look to my left, and there she stands proudly with the roots of our souls and our ancestors extending from her garment.
Talking
The one
about
and
the one
only.
only.
Harriet Tubman.
Yes.
That's where I get my strength. I say, if she can build an underground railroad, I won't complain.
Well, in manifesting, you have done a great job in partnering with the city in terms of hospitality. Tell me, what is in the works?
Oh my God. Well, Mayor Adams, I'm super excited to have him as our mayor, and I'm over at Wilman Rink, partnered with Stephen Ross, related, Harris Blitzer Sports. And what's really, and great performances, the largest caterer in the city. And what's really exciting about that is being from Harlem, my mom, dad, brother, sister, and I would pile into the car. We would go to Wilman Rink, and we would just stand there on the promenade and watch everybody else skate. And that was because we could not afford, as a family of 5, to skate at Wilman Rink. So our entertainment was watching everybody else skate. And when you go and look at life, there is a 360.
Full circle.
Full circle, because now there will be a Melba's on the promenade at Wilman Rink, and the first Black woman to have a space in Central Park. So I'm super duper excited.
I'm excited for you. I'm getting teary-eyed, and just
Yeah.
congratulations, truly.
Won't he do it?
Yes, he did.
Amen.
And yes, he will.
And yes, he can. So this is my team, this is my extended family, and the only thing I do is sign the checks. They make everything else happen. So when you hear me talk about we, it's never about me, it's about my team and I. Even though I have no financial partners, no investors, there's no way this engine could run without Keith, without Muhammad, without Danny, without Shay, without Solomon, without Mr. B, without Brian, without Olay, without Soto, without Belton, without the entire team that we have here at Melba. So never me, always we. We gotta take that M, turn it upside down, and make it a we. It's a we for win. Right, Awa? Always a we for win. That's right, let them know. Ooh.
This looks so good.
Yay. I hope you brought your appetite.
I did.
Good, good. Don't leave home without it, especially not when you come into Melbourne.
No, the way this smells, it is so intoxicating. And fried chicken is my comfort food. It is the way to my heart.
Yes, yes. And those ASAP yams in honor of the one and only ASAP yams. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Now, wait. Tell me about this pink butter.
You mean my strawberry butter? Okay.
Strawberry butter.
Strawberry butter. Well, chicken and waffles.
Yes.
Born in Harlem, just like me. Mr. Wells, the year 1930s, right? The Supper Club, Wells Supper Club. He would entertain a lot of jazz greats. So a lot of the artists would come from playing jazz at the Savoy, Small's Paradise, and Minton's Playhouse. A lot of these jazz musicians never made it home for dinner, and by then it was breakfast time. So Mr. Wells came up with the ingenious idea of marrying chicken and waffles. So to pay homage to him, I added my strawberry butter, and of course, eggnog in my waffles.
Eggnog!
Yes. Everything's better with eggnog. And that's thanks to my son. And then we have our low country collard greens, South Carolina, a little bit of vinegar, tad bit of brown sugar.
Okay.
And what else? Girl, you know I put the red pepper flakes in there, okay?
You gotta have it.
Gotta
a
have
little
it.
kick, just a little bit.
A little kick. However, it's seasoned with smoked turkey. So down south, my grandparents and my mom, they would season it with ham hocks.
Right.
But here at Melba's, I substitute the ham hocks for smoked turkey wings, and you're still gonna get that delectable, that delicious smoky flavor.
Yes.
And girl, the mac and cheese.
That's oozing. I mean, the cheese is just oozing off. It's calling my name.
And nice and crispy on the top, creamy and delicious and delightful on the inside. And Then paying homage to my brother, the one and only ASAP Yams.
Yeah.
Founder, creator of the ASAP crew. And Ferg, those guys are like nephews to me. I love them to death. All of the ASAP mob.
And you got a little baby coming.
Got a little baby. Oh, Rocky does have a baby
Yes.
coming, and I'm so happy for he and Rihanna.
Yeah.
But here we have it, comfort and comforting with a little soul and love here at Melba's.
I'm here for it all. Get into this right now.
Bon appetit.
Thank you.
You got to get some of that macaroni.
I do,
cheese,
I
'cause
do.
I want to see that string go up before it gets cold. You know,
All right,
that's
that money shot.
You got to get that. That's the thing.
Coming
that-
in close for this?
Those are those Emmy shots.
Okay.
Those are Emmy shots. Those
Here
are
we
Emmy
go.
shots. Thank you, Lovey Bell.
Let's take-
There we
Oop.
go.
Here we go.
And I got a surprise for you over here. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
This is the money shot. The
Oh yeah, that's
It's
it right
the
there.
cheesiest.
That's it,
Oh,
baby. That's
okay.
it, baby.
Y'all don't judge me, but like this is good. I'm going in. Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, it's yeah. Yeah.
This is so good. Get this food. Get it in your soul. This is good.
Thank you. Happy to have
Thank
you.
you.
Happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
Now I'm gonna go in the kitchen and make some waffles.
Oh.
Okay.
What's Eating Harlem wants to get you involved. Visit our website, www.whatseatingharlem.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like our Facebook. Returning to our Renaissance to Renaissance series, I'm joined by Miss Lana Turner, a student of Black history and culture, and I'm honored to be a student of hers. In our last episode, we covered a lame lock, but now I want to know all about Count Cullen.
Okay, well, we'll hear a little bit about Cullen because we've got so many writers to talk about, but Cullen is really important. Cullen went to school in the Bronx, and he showed such promise as a writer that people were just amazed. His teachers were amazed, everybody was amazed. He ended up going to NYU, and where he still continued to amaze other writers and his teachers. He was really the toast. I mean, when you think about the Harlem Renaissance now, perhaps the poet whose name emerges at the top of that heap would be Langston Hughes, right? Mm-hmm. But at the time that, in the early 1900s, when Cullen is writing, his first poem is printed in the school journal. And they're like, he wrote this? Can't believe this. It's just amazing, because it's so sophisticated. At the same time, You have Langston Hughes, who is now making his way to New York. He is disappointed with his father. His father begins with being disappointed in him. Langston's father is a lawyer. I'm talking about the two of them because they both have these
You're
kind of
creating the parallel.
Yeah. Langston's coming, he's going to meet his father, and his father is going to put him through school at Columbia. His father wants him to take on a profession once he gets to Columbia that he knows he does not want. But what he does on his way to meeting his father, he's at 19, he writes a poem, which I will talk about later. So here you have these two individuals, this is around 1921. You have these two individuals, Cullen, who has just written for his school journal, and I think it's DeWitt Clinton, I have to really make sure I have that right, for DeWitt Clinton. They're both, teenagers, right? And they are, it's just like this storm. You have, on the one hand, you have Langston, who is writing The Negro Speaks of Rivers. We'll talk about that later. And then you have Cullen. But there's something that influenced them. I should just mention this.
Please do.
Something that we're not always thinking about, even as we're thinking about this. One of the things that influenced both of these young men was something called, a show called Shuffle Along. 1921.
Okay.
And why was that such a big deal? Well, for black people now, you say, well, okay, what was such a big deal? Well, it's the first time there was a show that was produced, choreographed, written, composed, and performed by black people. And it was such a rage that they were the rage of the town, of Broadway. So both black people.
Okay, so it was on Broadway. I'm like, is this a touring show?
Not your Broadway that you're thinking of, because black people were confined to this theater on 63rd Street and on Broadway.
Okay.
And so it didn't have an orchestra pit, you had to move chairs to be able to do it. So it wasn't the way you're thinking about Broadway now.
Okay.
But having something like Shuffle Along, you have no idea, because you have to think, well, what happened before that? Because this is all part of the Harlem Renaissance.
Right.
What happened before that to make this such a big deal? Well, what happened before that was that we were only allowed to be minstrels. What was a minstrel? White people would emulate black people in blackface.
Yeah.
And black actors, to mount a stage, had to put on cork as well to emulate the white actors who were emulating the black men as fools.
Which goes back to his last
Shuffle
line.
Along. Shuffle Along. Shuffle Along is the one theater piece that turns things around for everybody. Oh, this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. The country is singing, I'm just wild about Harry, and Harry's wild about me. Shuffle Along. U.B. Blake.
Okay. Now, while all this is happening.
This is happening, but remember, music is also poetry.
Right.
And these two poets, who are writers, have gotten, they've come to New York. And this is what's going on? Oh my God, I can do anything.
Where are women in this picture?
Women. Women are certainly writers. And the women who are writers, who are people like Gwendolyn Bennett. They are people like Anne Spencer. They are people like Dorothy West. They are people like Zora Neale Hurston. So Zora Neale Hurston, and there are people like Regina Andrews, who, by the way, was a librarian and who worked here at what we now know as the 135th Street Library, now called the Schomburg, but she was a librarian here. They were all writers. Regina Andrews wrote plays, and some were produced here, but many were produced across the street. So what this period does is starts giving impetus to others. People are coming to Locke, showing them his work. Oh, I think it should be this, I think it should be that, as the architect. But how does he really get to be an architect? Because now we've got Cullen, we've got Hughes, we've got a number of other writers. How do we solidify this notion of what the Harlem Renaissance really gets pegged? How does that really happen?
Tell me.
I'm going to tell you.
That's all we have for now. Join us next time on What's Eating Harlem. See you uptown.
This program was made possible by J.P. Morgan Chase & Company, the Harlem Community Development Corporation, and by the West Harlem Development Corporation. Solutions through collaboration. Also by the Greater Harlem Chamber of Commerce and Harlem Park to Park.